Good morning. How are y'all doing today? Are your bellies full? You're ready? You got your carbs, you got your energy. First of all, I just want to say again, just kind of jumping off John, just thank you so much to the Small Business Office for coming to Corsicana and choosing to be here today. We're really excited for this opportunity and to have these speakers and these moderators come up today and share this wealth of knowledge to business owners, prospective business owners. What a wonderful opportunity they have today to learn a lot of knowledge and take back and apply to their storefronts. So I'm really, really excited to be here today. So I will be talking about, our first session is going to be building a business, and we're going to be talking about learning from the experts. And who better than two of these really wonderful experts in our community? So the first person I'm going to bring up is Thomas McNutt with Collins Street Bakery. And we have Mary Majors with Navarro Pecan. Good morning. And then I will let y'all go ahead and just say a little bit about yourselves and your company. If you would like to, you can have a seat. I think that mic is hot.
Like to the touch. Howdy. I know a lot of folks in the room, a lot of friends, but my name is Thomas, and I'm the chief taste tester at the Collins Street Bakery. I was only supposed to deliver the cookies, but then they made me stay. So, but no, I'm very, very blessed and very proud to represent the fourth generation of owner-operators at the Collins Street Bakery, and this will be our 126th Christmas in operation here in Corsicana. So.
Good morning. I'm Mary Majors with Navarro Pecan Company. We've been in business for 45 years, since 1977. My father, Thomas's grandfather, and another gentleman started the company, and it has evolved over the years. We can crack up to 50 million pounds of pecans a year, and we ship those domestically and internationally to wholesale companies. So it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having us.
Before we get into the questions, I want to share some interesting facts, which I'm sure some people in this room already know this. And Mary, you can correct me on this. But y'all are the largest pecan sheller possibly in the world.
Yes, we're one of the top three. So there's three of us, and we're
going to say the top one. We're going to say number one.
But yeah, number one. We are. My dad and the McNutts, we have spent a lot of money and efforts over the years to market our pecans, again, internationally and domestically. And that has helped us create to be the largest pecan sheller, or one
Wonderful.
of the largest.
And then Thomas, y'all ship lots of fruitcakes. I mean, we are the fruitcake capital of the world is what I tell people. You ship to 200 countries and all 50 states in the United States. And y'all have already started your season. Your season's ramped up. This is busy time for you. So we're glad that the chief taste tester made his way down here today.
Well, thank you. And I'll add, Amy, that, so yeah, it is kind of cool. Mary and I are actually business partners, yes. Right? And so we've got, some Mary runs the Navarro Pecan Company and does an awesome job. But our businesses are intertwined and have some common ownership, which is kind of cool. But the other thing that I think is really cool is that both of our businesses, and this is rare, we're both very proud to be, employers in Corsicana, Texas, both employing, several hundred folks. But we're both multi-generational, family-owned Texas businesses, and that is getting more and more rare and rare and rare. So we're both small businesses that are family-owned, and most businesses like that are either going out of business or getting acquired by the big boys, by the major big corporations and stuff. So we're hanging on and doing our best. But I just wanted to point that out. It's cool. And the third business that was supposed to be with us, also multi-generational, family-owned Corsicana business. So that's something I just think is special.
Yeah, I think they're one of the oldest foundries that we have in the state of Texas. So how special that we have we have so many wonderful namesakes in Corsicana, full of such rich history. And so I'm glad to have you guys share your knowledge today. So let's just jump right into it, and we'll ask some questions and we'll open it up for you guys. So if there's something that we haven't answered and you want to ask the experts, this is your time to take that opportunity. So the first thing I want to talk about, we're going to talk about scaling and growing a business, because you guys know that. What are some of the most critical changes that we must make to face the future effectively? And let's start, who wants to start with that?
Critical changes. I can start. I think a critical change is culture. I think that's been a big change for us. We've been very big into food safety and food quality for a long time at our company, but creating a culture that starts with the people in the plant and comes all the way up through management, that has been a big change, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Culture is very important, and we define culture at Collins Street as what is praised and what is shamed. That's what culture is. Whatever your culture is, with your people, what is praised and what is shamed. And that is what culture, and it's so important. And so we try to praise good things and core values. We try to shame, selfishness, right? And lack of integrity and things of that nature. We're a team and we want to win for one another. But in regards to change, I heard an awesome quote from the football coach at UCLA, Chip Kelly, and he was the longtime Oregon coach. Man, I was watching Sports Center, and he had this awesome quote, and I stopped and rewound and recorded it. And he said, change is going to happen, right? And he said, in order to be successful over the long term, you need two things. A fruitcake. I'm kidding. Sorry. He said, you need two things. He said, you've got to love routine and learn to enjoy the next challenge. And I just thought that was fantastic. And I was like, man, I love routine, but I hate the next challenge. Right. It's always just like, another thing. But change is going to happen, but love routine and enjoy the next challenge.
I love those two words, love and enjoy. I think what it sounds like is positive reinforcement is so important in the workplace. Mm-hmm. And it's so easily forgotten. We get so focused in our own lane, and sometimes we forget to appreciate the things that our employers are doing. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with this. I wish I had a video to show you, but there's a seafood market in Seattle. I think they're called Pike Place Market. And they follow a philosophy called FISH, which I studied when I was a public educator. And they love what they do, and they have a routine. And they're one of the most probably unattractive jobs you could think of. They're throwing fish to each other. They're cutting and gutting fish, but it's become such a tourist destination in their city because these people are lively and exuberant, and they're loving what they do, and it's infectious, and visitors want to go and see what they're doing. If you have time to look it up on YouTube, there are videos, and you wouldn't think it's that entertaining, but when you watch how these guys interact with each other, I think it's exactly an example of what y'all are, a testament to what y'all are talking about, is just loving what you're doing, enjoying it, and sharing that positivity in the workplace. That's so important, so important. So the next thing I want to ask, what are the key things that businesses forget to do when maintaining their business strategies?
I think one thing that people forget to do is just continue to plan. So even when you have a really great year, keep planning for the next year. And we have KPIs at our office. So we always try to say, hey, this is what worked this year, but what can we focus on next year to find our next performance indicator that will make us strive and be a better company, find revenue, or maybe there wasn't revenue, or why are we doing this? Because we've done it since 1977. Is that why we're still, implementing certain things, policies in our plant? Or are we doing it because it's still effective? I think, sometimes breaking down your system with various people and involving someone who may not be in that area is always good to see, a fresh perspective. So I think perspective and keeping it fresh and planning are really important.
Awesome. If for us, not too unsimilarly, I think it's very important for any business to know their core focus. And I say business, team, organization, for your life. But a core focus. We all do a whole lot of different things. What's our core focus. And at Collins Street, our core focus is world quality deluxe fruitcake. I mean, that's what it is. So what's tempting is to chase the shiny objects of, ooh, we could get into that business, or we could start doing this new thing that is not our core focus. So to hold ourselves accountable in management, we put our core focus on a poster, and we put it up all over the building. So the team can hold us accountable. We can hold each other accountable. Anytime a shiny object comes up, is this a part of our core focus? Are we in that business or not? Are we in the bread business or not, right? And,
Almost quality over quantity.
That's right. That's right. What business are we in core focus?
I see that on a smaller scale with sometimes, and I didn't introduce myself. I apologize. I'm the Main Street Director. Did John introduce me and I wasn't paying attention? Thanks, John. John knows my job. So I am the Main Street Director for the city of Corsicana. So I work on downtown development, and work on getting businesses downtown and in retaining those businesses and getting our community engaged to come and shop. And I see that a lot where I'll see some business owners that maybe have been in business for 50 years. And it's hard for me to sometimes get them to, let's think outside the box. What have you been doing that maybe it's time to change up? Or let's get on social media. Ooh, I know that's kind of scary for some of them, but, or they get into too much inventory. Like Thomas said, they're trying to dip their toes in too many different things. And before they know it, they've got way too much overhead in their store and their bills are piling up. And before they know it, I've got to liquidate and I've got to close because I've got in over my head. So it's quality over quantity and just really focusing. And then what has been working for all these years, but then what do we need to keep fresh and change up? I think that's so important for these business owners to apply. Thank you for that. Okay, next question. How will you know when it is time to add an employee or outsource a service? So this is hard because a lot of times business owners, I have that question a lot of times in my Main Street is, I think I need to hire another staff person. And it might be, I want to have some more freedom as a business owner, but financially, can I afford that right now? So when is it time for them to add an employee or outsource?
Let me take it.
Sure.
So this is a common, very, very common issue that again, businesses have to face, households have to face, right? Should I mow my own lawn or should I get a lawn guy, right? You know what I mean? It's a bit real basic level. But the same thing's true like at Collins Street Bakery. And I'll give you a real world example, right? We have a couple at Collins Street. We've got some proprietary blends of flour. Take a little bit of this flour, this flour, this flour. Has anybody had Collins Street Bakery egg bread before? Old-fashioned egg bread. So it's amazing. And so one of the reasons it's amazing is this proprietary blend of flours. Well, we have the flour mill blend a couple different flours and send it to us in bags, right? And we have to pay a premium for that service of blending this custom for us. Well, I could analyze, all right, now I could go buy several big old, huge mega flour bins. I could get it's called a ribbon blender that would do that for me. I could hire up a small crew that's going to be bagging that and staging, and that would be less expensive than buying it from them. But the amount of money I would save would not outpace what I would need to pay to have all that equipment and to have that team. And so it's like, I got to remember my core focus. Am I in the flour milling business? Am I in the flour blending business? I'm not. I'm in the fruitcake business, so I'm going to keep that outsourced, right? But this is a common thing. So here are the questions we ask ourselves whenever we are tempted to, bring something in-house or outsource it. And that is this. A, why are we asking about this? Is it because we're just chasing savings? Or is there a problem that we're faced? Okay, and it could be yes or no to either of those. Second of all, you got to ask, you got to get out your little pencil and say, does the math work? Right? And then finally we ask, is this the business we're in, and is the complication that we are adding or taking away worth that saving? So those are the three questions we ask ourselves. What business are we in? Does the math work? And is it worth the complication or simplification?
Yeah. Sounds like efficiency is a huge proponent in that decision. You know, is it efficient and is it work within your business model?
Right.
We had something pretty similar as well. You know, we've had some people retire and things like that. So we had a lady who was handling some of the payroll, and it was taking up a whole day to do the payroll. But when we looked at a payroll company to handle it, we were thinking, gosh, this seems so expensive. But when we took her hourly rate and her pay, and then we looked at the whole, we were actually paying less and saving time and freeing up more time for her to do other things that are more critical to help us, considering tallying up the payroll every week. So, you know, sometimes you look at a number and you think, oh, that seems so expensive, but then you look at the time spent on it, and sometimes those dollars really aren't as much as they look at the time. So
That's good. Thank y'all so much for that. Okay, so the next question, and this is a big one. How do you balance paying yourself and reinvesting revenue back into business growth? I've seen business owners, they'll sometimes go a few years without paying themselves. So, you know, how do they balance that and reinvesting that revenue back into that business growth?
I can start.
yeah,
You want me to?
sure.
So, just personally at Collins Street, we always try to reinvest everything if we can. I mean, that is always our, long-term focus at the business, reinvest. However, for a lot of people who are starting a business, okay, it's never easy, okay? But if you're truly doing a startup, okay, it's nice if you don't have to rely on your startup for your living, okay? So what do I mean? I know several folks who have a day job working for someone else, and then they are starting their startup on the side, on the nights and weekends. And so they can afford their living from their job and then reinvest. Sometimes you might be fortunate enough to have a parent or a spouse or a relative who can be the bread maker while you are starting up your business. Both of those things are always preferable, but a luxury. If you do have to rely on your business for your living, like most business owners do, then I think if you can try to make a plan and see, what do I need? What do I need for my household? And say, I'm going to try to budget a salary if I can, and anything that my business makes above that is going to go to the side for reinvestment. But try to stay disciplined too. All right, yeah, it's my business. I can do but I'm going to try to budget a salary for myself and stay disciplined to that. Put this over to the side, make those decisions later.
So important to work that into your business plan, which is something I know Daniel Short with small business development, he'll get more into in the next panel discussion.
I would say it's definitely a hard balance, I would say. For us, we're going through a transition, I would say, and investing in a lot of new equipment. So I would say it's a hard question for me to answer because we are investing a lot at Nevada Pecan Company. So I just say this is my base salary, and this is where I'm going to stay for a while. And my husband has a job, so we pretty much kind of live off his salary, like Thomas was saying. I wouldn't know how to answer that, honestly, for a startup. I just,
Got it. Is there anybody else in the audience that could answer to that or can, as a testament to that solution? We're welcome to take anyone from the audience as well. No, crickets. You're all shy. Okay. Well, thank you for that, Thomas and Mary. I think that was really, really interesting. So I want to kind of jump into marketing now. One that I know a lot of business owners face can be challenging in today's culture, in today's society. The world of marketing is ever changing, and it's always changing so quickly. And we've entered this new. For those that have been in business for a long time, we've entered this new age of marketing that's kind of foreign to some people, and it makes people nervous to dip their toes in digitally. And so the first question is, what advice would you give any small business or entrepreneurs in their beginning efforts of marketing?
Sure, you can go first.
So two things, one pretty broad, one real specific. The broad deal is just know who your customer is. Know who really ask you, who is my customer? Everybody's got a customer. Who is my customer? And ask yourself, am I a business? Am I selling to the public? Or am I selling to industry? Am I B2B or am I B2C, right? And knowing, do I make a product or am I a service provider? Kind of understanding those basic things to start is very helpful. But even established businesses like us, we need to ask ourselves this question continuously. All right, now hang on. Let's remember who the customer is. Yeah. Let's remember what business we're in, we're not. And the other one is this. I hope everybody who's a part of any Texas business in here is a member of Go Texan. Texas Department of Agriculture, look up Go Texan. We're members of Go Texan, and they have a mega grant, a Go Texan marketing mega grant that your business can apply for.
I hope you're writing this down.
I'm telling you, you have to be a member of Go Texan, but and they help businesses small, medium, and large, and we're on the medium or smaller end. But we've gotten 2 Go Texan marketing grants in the past that have been very helpful to us. So check out Go Texan.
Wonderful. Thank you for that interesting info. I'm going to have to get that written down when I get back to my desk, send it to my small business owners downtown. That's great. Yeah.
My messaging is pretty similar to Thomas's as well. Knowing your key audience and your target audience. We are a wholesaler, so going to trade shows is important to us because you see the quality department, there, and the innovative department R&D. So trade shows are important so we can talk about the value add of pecans and how they can use that in their ingredients and any upcoming projects that they have on the horizon. Like Collins Street Bakery, we've taken advantage of some government programs. We've been able to go overseas with SESTA. It's called Southern United States Trade Association. And they'll pay the travel expenses. I think we pay for the trade show booth, but they pay a lot of the travel expenses to get overseas. That's been very helpful. Industry forums have been wonderful. So we have a Pecan Shellers Association. It's a nominal fee, annual fee, but they market pecans to various trade organizations, not just here in the United States, but also export. We have annual meetings. They were biannual, but now they're annual meetings. And then also we're part of a tree nut association. So the associations, I feel like, get your name out. They're, again, a very low cost, and you can also, find out about government programs to find some opportunities to save money on your marketing.
I love that. It sounds like both of you, finding the right opportunities that are just sitting right in front of you, the Go Texan, finding the funding that you need, and then finding the avenues of similar people that are in your market and going to those and networking and reaching out and sharing ideas with one another. It's so important. And sometimes that's hard to do as a small business owner. We get in our lane and we get so focused on what we're doing because so much of the work that a small business owner does is it's a lot. It's a lot for a small business owner to do because as that owner, you're doing the marketing, you're doing the inventory, you're doing the accounts receivable, accounts payable, you're doing all the things that, you're up against these big box stores that have teams doing all of those things. So it's easy to get in our lane, but I think it's hearing from y'all, it's so important to get out of our lane sometimes, get over into maybe the HOV lane or something and go share with other people and get in network. So that's so important.
Mary, did you say you're a member of the Tree Nut Association?
Yes.
There is no, who else is a member of the Tree Nut Association? Where are you?
And it's an international tree nut association.
There is no International Fruitcake Association.
Maybe you should create it.
We need to start one.
Yeah, you should.
Who's with me?
You
Who wants to join the international?
If there's taste testing involved, I'll come.
There we go. Darlene's with me. Okay. That's Jarvis's mom, by the way. Darlene is Jarvis's mom. And Jarvis is the one who brought this event to his hometown, Corsicana, by the way. I'm going to clap for you,
yes,
Jarvis.
Where are you, Jarvis?
You're a champ. Jarvis.
Okay, next question. And I kind of touched on this at the beginning when I kind of segued into marketing. What do you, and I know I'm asking y'all to get your crystal balls out right now. Okay, so get your crystal balls out. We're going to try to tell the future. What do you predict changing in the next 5 to 10 years in marketing?
Yeah, I think you're probably more digitally savvy than Nevera Pecan.
There are some trends, and I will say this, and this is advice that I heard from somebody. I was at a food manufacturer's little event, and this guy got up on the microphone, and this was advice specific to food manufacturers, but I think it's kind of obvious how it would apply to other businesses too. He said, you got to decide. For food manufacturers, are you going to be a manufacturer, or are you going to outsource that and be a brand manager? Because you can't be both. And what he means is, if you're going to be making a product, you can focus on being really good at manufacturing and then selling that product to other businesses who focus on marketing to the public. Okay, a simple example would be, I make bread, but I don't sell to the public. I sell to the supermarket, and they manage a supermarket brand, and they're experts on selling to the public. They're not experts in making the bread. So it's kind of knowing your lane and choosing it. Unfortunately, at Collins Street Bakery, we are both. So we are not taking that man's advice at all, and it's very difficult, because it's very difficult. We both sell directly to the public, so we've got to have a brand and a marketing department, but we also got to be good at manufacturing. But to answer your question specifically, here are the trends we're seeing. One, this is the first year where the pandemic is not mentioned every single day on the news. I mean, it's the first holiday season. Yeah, I'll clap to that girl.
Yeah.
And so
I'm excited about that.
So
should we knock on wood too when we say that?
It's the first holiday season where it's just not being talked about every single day. Okay, and so that's having a reaction. And what we're seeing is that we had FedEx. FedEx is one of our largest vendors. They deliver our B2C packages. They said that e-commerce is down globally, right? But travel is up. So a lot of people are spending less of their hard-earned money on buying stuff and more on experiences. And you know what? We're seeing that at Collins Street Bakery, where our stores, which are a travel destination, they're all on Texas highways, our store traffic is way up. But our purchases on our website are down. So the trend that they're seeing is the same for us. More travel and less buying stuff.
And to that, I would say we see that in Corsicana. Last year for the city of Corsicana, we collected the most hotel occupancy tax we've ever collected. And I would say we're a direct reflection of that trend for sure.
I'll pony off Thomas again off this question. I would say that, we use a brand managing company out of Chicago, but we do it through our association, the National Pecan Shellers Association. Another plug. But they hired an ad agency in Chicago to work on branding for pecans in general. And now it helps the competitors as well, but it helps us as a whole as for an industry. But they were talking about at our recent meeting in September that they're trying to get Kim Kardashian and some of these, influencers on Instagram and Facebook to show them eating pecans and how much they love pecans. So I would say that is something that is trending. Weber Shandwick is who they use to market and brand and advertise for pecans right now. So I would say that, they're pretty high up on the marketing level and what's popular in branding.
They say the best form of advertisement is the word of mouth from somebody else. So when you have that sentiment of an influencer, they have credibility in what they're sharing. And that's definitely a trend. And I would say to what y'all are saying, they're going to these big places that are helping their ad agencies. And that may scare some people in this room, but we have small firms in Corsicana that That is their job. We have firms here that are small scale that all they do is assist business owners with getting on social media, building a website platform, helping them create logos. And if that's something you don't know about, I'm happy to speak with you after. Daniel may have contacts as well. So we have people like that are doing these things that these big companies are doing, but they're doing them on a small scale and they'll work with your budget. So don't be scared when they're up here, saying that they're using these big ad agencies and firms that are helping them with that. Of course, Collins Street Baker has a marketing team. You may not have a marketing team, but finding someone that fits within your budget to assist you with that, it's okay to ask for help. There's nothing wrong with that. We don't expect all these business owners to have graphic design knowledge and know how to create a logo. And I think that's what makes a successful business owner is knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are and getting someone to help you develop those weaknesses into a strength for your business. Yeah.
Or even, reaching out to Navarro College
Yes.
is a great resource. I know we did that in the beginning, and we may still do it again in the future, but using them to help us create a video for our store at the time. We've done small projects like that. We did a brochure before we had a brochure made in the 90s, but we reached out to the college for some of these little projects. And they're awesome. They're hungry for the job, and it's great for their resume. So, it's a win-win.
And I'll add one. Another awesome resource, in addition to Go Texan, is your local SBDC,
Yes.
Small Business Development Center. Correct? Look at that. I rarely get acronyms correct, but Leslie and Daniel, formerly Leslie, got recruited away, and then Daniel. But Collins Street has used our local SBDC for a lot of stuff, and they are super helpful. Both directly, but can also refer you to other resources that are very helpful. So
Find your resources in your community and really take advantage of them. And Daniel will plug what they are, but they're completely free. There's no strings attached. And people always ask, okay, but what else comes with that? So no, it really is a free service. So yes, take advantage of those opportunities that are right in your own backyard. Those are in every community. So important. Do we have time for any more questions, John? Or how am I doing on time? Okay, cool. Okay, next question. Okay, what is a big challenge that marketers face in probably, let's say, the DFW region, because we're kind of in that region of Texas. So what is a big challenge that marketers tend to face?
One, and you mentioned it earlier, Amy, but just keeping up with the big boys. And I'm just going to say this, you don't have to keep up with the big boys, right? And so you don't have to keep up with the next trend all the time. I am the least trendy person in the history of Earth, and you don't have to. And so as a small business, you can sit back and see which things are going to stay.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be on the cutting edge of every single, trend. And
I still don't have a TikTok, and I probably won't get a TikTok.
yeah, and I'm not on the Insta tweeter. I try not to. But then the other thing is, and this is a real specific one, is tracking the profitability of your marketing efforts.
Yeah.
That is a very difficult thing to do. If you want to take some money and buy some Facebook advertising, Facebook will give you a report that tells you supposedly what the return on your investment in that is. Well, the problem there is you don't really, that's kind of what am I looking for? It's, they are telling you how they're performing for you. So you don't know how accurate it is or not, right? But in addition to that, but let's just say it is accurate. Well, then you can know, man, I spent $100 on that ad. I got $500 on sales, right? I know, okay, I got a 5-to-1 return. That was a profitable venture to acquire a new customer or make a new order, right? But if you get a billboard, it's very hard to know if a billboard brought you people. You saw I put up a billboard, sales went up a little, But it's hard to track. So that's one of the biggest challenges, just knowing, the profitability of your market. You bring cherry icebox cookies to an awesome Jarvis event, and I don't know who's going to go to Collins Street and buy more of those cookies now, So, but thank you, ma'am. Yes, you are, and you are, and you are, and it's like Oprah, everybody gets a cookie. But tracking the profitability of your marketing is very difficult.
Good. Okay. I think I want to open it up for questions in the audience. If anybody in the audience has any questions, and you can just raise your hand if there's anything. Yes, over here.
So is your question, how do we acquire new customers? Or how do we grow more into our funnel? Yeah,
geographically.
You bet. I mean, for us specifically, the answer is yes. We track what we call our new to file customers, and this is in our B2C wing. So we track how many people either call our call center to place an order or go to our website to place an order that don't have in our database anywhere, okay? And so we call them our first-time buyers, and we track our first-time buyers and our new-to-file customers, okay? Once they become once they bought 2 years in a row from us, we consider them an active customer. And those are the people that we try to communicate with often through email, okay? And we will, about once a year, send a survey to them asking, hey, how did you hear about us? And ask them, not too many, but 6 or 7 other questions to try to find what we can do better. So I don't know if that answers your question or not, but that's what we do.
Great, good question. Thank you for that. Okay, any other questions? Any other questions in the audience? Yes, over here.
On the surveys, how do you ensure that they respond? I know many companies send surveys and they don't get responses. Is there some way of designing the survey to do that?
Steve, that's a great question. We're pretty blessed that we have not had to incentivize survey responses. I mean, you certainly can answer a survey and get an X, but what we find is people want to be heard. And people have real opinions and good ideas, and they want to give them feedback. So we find, getting responses, pretty good, pretty easily.
When you do surveys, about how many questions do you ask?
The more you ask, the less responses you get.
I was going to say, that was my point.
The discipline is not coming up with questions. You can come up with a lot of questions.
Right.
The discipline is not
keep it
doing
easy.
Too many. You know what I mean? I mean, that's so. Yep.
And even on when it comes to social media, I've seen business owners get on in their Instagram stories and they say, taking a poll, what do you prefer? And it might be a coffee shop and they say, do you prefer hot coffee or iced coffee? Do you prefer to go or do you prefer to dine in? And they're making it fun. They're making it easy. They're making it interactive while also it's almost like a game for the consumer, but for them, they're actually getting critical feedback from their consumers. So there's ways to do surveys in a unconventional way while still getting the valuable feedback that you need.
And Mary, I'll ask you, so that y'all are the experts in business to business acquiring new customers and getting feedback from your customers. So from the B2B side, you talked about trade shows. Mm-hmm. I know you've got brokers and a sales team, but can you talk about how y'all go about acquiring new customers and how you get feedback on what they want?
Sure. We sell to a lot of large companies, and so they will actually send us a performance review at the end of the year. And so for our really large customer base, I would say that we already get something that's sent to us by them. But for some customers that, we don't hear a lot from, or, it's just really easy business, I guess is the way to put it. They order on time, we ship on time, just things go well. We'll just ask them, are you happy with our service? Is there anything we could do to, make the experience better? How are the shipping times? How are the lead times? And just making sure that we're in sync so they don't go somewhere else, because they haven't heard from us. We do have several brokers that we work with, and so they are constantly getting our name out there and what we're doing. So I feel like we have a lot of word-to-mouth marketing, but that has been built over the last 45 years. So that's one thing that, we have as surveys that our customers send to us, and then we'll just kind of ask some of those similar questions that we've been given and feedback.
Super helpful.
It sounds to me like the consumer feedback makes such a critical it's a critical role for y'all's decision making in your businesses, which to me, I wish I saw more of that, because that's so important. I think it kind of goes back to, Mary, what you said at the very beginning, keeping things fresh, knowing what's working, and if it's not, what do we need to change? Going back to the surveys and evaluating that. Well, maybe this is why they're going to a different customer, because our shipping time's taking a little longer, is what they say. That is just so important. If there's anything you take away from probably this session, I'd say that's huge. Listening to your customers and applying that to your business. It's one thing to listen to them and let it fall on dead ears. It's another thing to really look at what's working in your business model and what's not working and applying it. I think that's really important. And I think it's a testament to why they've been in business for so long. I think that y'all really are applying that. I think that's great.
One thing to add to that as well is never be scared to ask for extra money from your customers when you're adding value. That's one thing I think that, for a long time, we were always scared to ask our customers, will you pay a delivery fee? Will you pay a logistics fee? Or will you pay for pallets? Yet all the other tree nuts were doing it in California, except for the pecan industry. And we did it, and people didn't like that we asked at first because it was new, but they were already having all those extra add-ons added on already. And so we thought we're providing a service, we are adding value to your contract and to servicing you better. And they stopped resisting. So it's one thing just to know your value and ask for what you need.
Mary, as your customer, I would love for you not to ask me that. We're right here in town. We're just across. We're on the same street. Come on.
That's great. Okay, we'll take maybe one more question from the audience. If anybody else has another question for the experts. Anyone else? Yes, Jake.
Mary, yeah.
And thank you, Jake. Jake is also a new business owner here in town and crushing it. One of the questions was, hey, at the beginning of a business, how do you, what worked best in the marketing? Well, I was not around in 1896 to speak to what the
If you did, you're aging really well, Thomas.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's because
you
I
need
eat
to drink what
fruitcake.
you're drinking.
I eat fruitcake every day. That's my secret.
Lots of pecans.
That's with lots of pecans. Yeah, no. But I don't know what the big marketing trends in the 1890s were. But anyway, but what Jake's speaking to, and thank you, man, I appreciate it. I have been able to witness a new sales channel for our business, and Jake's right. So the mail order business used to be a not crowded space, but now everybody's in the mail order business. It's called e-commerce, right? Used to very few gifts through the mail. Now everything's a gift through the mail, right? This is a gift through the mail. This is a gift through the mail. So to do that, Collins Street had to adapt, and so we used to say never sold in stores in our advertisements. And so one year we said, well, what if we sell in stores? And we were like, well, because we say we don't. Well, what if we stop saying it? Well, we've always said it. So what do we do? So we're like, well, let's just not say it and to try to sell in stores. And so Jake's right. We tried it, and we went to Brookshire's, another family-owned, Texas company, based out of Tyler. We said, hey guys, could we test doing our cakes in stores for the first time with you guys? And they're like, yeah, bring it on. And so, man, we moved and adapted and created some packaging that's meant for the shelf and not meant to ship. Put it out there, and it went well. We were in 150 supermarkets in 2017. In 2018, we grew to 300 supermarkets. And then in 2019, we were in 1,500 supermarkets across 15 states. And y'all can be proud of this if you're Corsicana people. Today, our Corsicana cakes are on the shelves in 38 states and 3,000 supermarkets this Christmas season. Wow. And well, yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And so what we've learned is, and so it's our most rapidly growing channel, but growing has a lot of challenges. You know, in mail order, people pay before that cake is baked. And in stores, you get paid way after you bake those cakes. And so just learning some of those things. But Jake, thanks for that softball. I appreciate it. God.
Okay, well, I think that kind of sums up everything that we're going to talk about. Thomas and Mary, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us again today.